Hello, nerds, geeks, and all variants in between. I'm Tony Diana, and this is of Nerds and Geeks, pop culture from a certain point of view. Today, I'm joined by Vinny as we talk about fandom culture in general, the ups, the downs, the toxic, the positive. Let's take a listen.
Okay, everyone, I'm here with Vince Perrone Jr., actor, gamer, lady killer. Did I say that right? Lady killer this time?
That's right.
That's right. And today we're going to be talking about fandom culture. Now, fandom culture is probably as old as the day is long, because even back in the day, shows like Lone Ranger, Little Orphan Annie, they had a huge following. I mean, you would find advertisements in the newspaper for Little Orphan Annie, and you can actually turn in box tops of Ovaltine to get a little secret decoder ring. That's actual truth. And of course, as the time went on, fandom got bigger and bigger, especially when things like Star Wars came out and Star Trek gained popularity. Conventions started popping up, and then people started going to meet together. But at the core of it all was fandom. The whole thing has always really been about a group of people who are like-minded and like one thing and get together to discuss it and enjoy it. And that's what fandom's all about. I mean, what's fandom mean to you, Vinny?
Well, fandom, I think, has two terms. I feel like fandom for some people means like you said, like a group of people that go together, like comic book conventions, anime conventions, or Discord groups, or Instagram groups, Facebook groups, all that stuff to join and talk about stuff they like. The other thing I feel like sometimes it gets a little negative term is when they talk about fandom and how like negative it can be and a lot of toxicity the way it is in the world nowadays.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, I think a lot of that can be contributed to the social media age. When people feel safe behind a computer, they can be as negative as they want without any repercussions. Back in the day when you're hanging out with your friend, you guys have a disagreement about who's going to play Luke Skywalker, who's going to be Han Solo. You guys can hash it out, but eventually they'll come to a consensus. Nowadays, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, that movie sucked. You sucked. Bye, and they have no accountability.
Yeah,
and that kind of gives
right.
rise to the whole toxic fandom thing, or idea, I should say.
I feel like that's where the whole nerd culture, geek culture as a whole, it always perplexes me when there's always arguments. I mean, there's going to naturally be, like discussions like you like this character, I like this character, you like this show, I like this show, you like this video game, I like this video game. But what I never get is the way it's so divided now. Like anime to me is a very good example. So there's people that watch subtitles and people that watch the dub. If you both like anime, what does it matter if someone's watching the Japanese talking with the English translation or somebody translating in their native language? I never understood the I guess the competition be like, oh well, sub is better than dub or dub is better than sub. I just feel like if you like something, you should be bonding over liking the same thing, because in real life, no one's gonna like every single thing the same. But if you guys share a similar topic of interest, then I think we should all just get along, I guess, the cliche saying as it is.
But that's a good gateway though into gatekeepers. Are you familiar with that term?
Oh.
Basically,
no, I'm actually not.
Think of gatekeepers as like people who are so purist and people who are so, to use lack of a better word, elitist in their fandom that they think they have all knowledge, and those who don't follow that knowledge are garbage. So in other words, if you were going to watch Star Wars and you're like, well, the first three were great, but they broke the rules of the Jedi, and I don't know why you're talking about that, because it doesn't matter anymore. Kyber crystals weren't in the beginning. I think you're completely wrong. And you see how that has that sort of air of like elitism, and they think they maintain that this franchise has to be this way, otherwise it's garbage. There's no room for change or growth because they are gatekeeping the property. That's why they're called gatekeepers. And that goes exactly what you like, sub versus dub. Great example. Like, I'm going to look down at you if you watch the dub version. If you don't watch the sub, you're not watching it from the culture and where it came from and what's wrong with you. But to your point,
I like the hair thing at the end too. That's pretty cool.
but to your point, you're absolutely right, though. I mean, whether you like sub or dub, can't you bond over the fact that you both like the same story? You know what I mean? Whether it's Dragon Ball Z, Death Note, or whatever, it's like you still like My Hero Academia. You still like the same story. Shouldn't that matter more than how you watch it, how you choose to watch it? But some people who are insecure, and not to offend anybody, but just to be honest, from my experience, people who are insecure, I find, really kind of ramp up that sort of attitude so they can feel a little better because maybe their life isn't so happy. So, they kind of take it on the people around them because they can. Like, I have the authority. I know everything. So therefore, I'm going to put you down so I feel better. That's not true of everyone.
Right.
You know, I'm not trying to classify everyone into one thing, but I find that's true most of the times with
No,
gatekeepers.
of course. Of course. I mean, the way that you describe gatekeepers to me, it kind of sounds like the nerdy or geek way of bullying. You know, like back in the old day, you're like, oh, the bully's the guy that like is the jock that would shove you into lockers and everything. And now that same kid that got shoved in the locker, he's like, well, I'll show you. I'll have the power, and I'll say this is true and this is right. It'll be like watching Transformers and like this movie sucks. I'll be like, why? Because Optimus Prime is supposed to be cherry red. You know what they did? It's fire red. I can't watch this movie. It's like, bro, just enjoy the movie, you know? It's
But
just like
that's
so
that's a great example there too. Like giving the comparison to the bully, because also the bully bullies you because he's unhappy in his life. I mean, that's just a fact
right.
in high school. When you're bullied, it means he's got a terrible home life, or he's got so much pressure, he's got to put it out somewhere. Same is true with the gatekeepers, or even any toxic fan. I mean, you're just like you're looking for, you know, you're trying to be an edge lord, you're trying to look for attention, you're trying to start a fight, you're trying to start crap for no reason. You're probably not even a fan of the thing. You're just trying to stir the pot so you can get some reaction out of
Yeah.
somebody. Because you're on the internet, you can do that all you want. I mean, you could be, but you could
Right.
freaking love the MCU and be like, She-Hulk is for wimps, and eat your popcorn and
Yep.
wait for
And
people
then
to bash you or whatever, you know, because you get off on it. And I don't like that attitude to fandom at all.
yeah. I mean, I see it a lot too in sports. I don't know if you guys are big into sports who are watching this. I can't say I'm a sports, enthusiast, but I do like occasional, football, soccer, actual football, they call it, UFC, boxing, stuff like that. But I've seen some of the fandom in that too. They'll be like, oh, I like the Red Sox. What do you like? I like the Yankees. Get out of my house. Like,
That has
it's,
been there since day one, though,
yeah, of course.
in
What I'm just
sports.
saying in general, I just think it's crazy. It went from like a friendly rivalry to like literally hating people because you think about it. At the end of the day, the voice actors or the gamers or the players or anything, at the
Yeah,
end of the day, they respect each other for the most part. So if they can respect each other and they actually play the game, you should respect them as well. I don't know. I always thought that was funny.
no, I mean you're 100% right, and I agree with you. But I mean, She-Hulk is probably a great example where it's like, because the other thing that seems to be mixed in, and feel free in the comments to correct me. I'm not an authority. I don't know everything. I'm not nobody. I don't know everything, but to my experience and just what I've seen happen is that a lot of the hate for She-Hulk, even Captain Marvel, comes around the idea that there are certain men, not all of them, that don't like strong female characters or women being women. They're like they'd rather see women in a subservient, sexy part rather than being a woman. It's like
Right.
give me Black Widow in her tight bodysuit, cleaning up after us and flirting with all the guys, and she's our help once in a while. I'm good. You give me Captain Marvel, who's independent and has her own opinion and doesn't want to smile because I want her to. Well, fuck that bitch. Or she makes one
Yeah.
bad comment on Twitter and suddenly everyone hates Brie Larson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, to
Yeah, I
live in
mean,
society. I mean, to be honest, I think She-Hulk is pretty hot. I mean, if she was in real life, I wouldn't be like, ew, you're disgusting. Be like, hey, what are you doing later? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah. And I've always liked She-Hulk in the comics growing up too. But I mean, that's another thing too. It's like I know there's a lot of like hatred out there from when she did the twerking scene with Megan the Stallion, and I
Right.
was just like, oh, there's no guys in the room. All I see is just two women like expressing themselves and having fun. But if Deadpool
Right.
wants to go twerk, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Peter
It's
Parker
also
wants to go throwing his stuff down. In Spider-Man 3, he's got the Venom thing. That's fine. But if a woman does it, oh, that's the way it feels to
yeah,
me.
I get it. It's hard. I feel like it's like people sometimes I feel like they don't want to get with the times maybe in the generation because like many discussions that I've had is that like things change, technology changes,
Attitudes
society
change.
itself changes.
Yeah.
So like why is that like a bad thing? Like maybe why can't it just be a joke? Like I don't know. Like it's hard now to be because is everyone's just so opinionated. I feel nowadays that everything has to be cancel culture now. Like if it's something you don't like, then that's it. When
But
again, that ruins it for other fans because then now when you're starting to get other things, because again, like MCU is a good example. It's not just one or two or even just the Avengers. It's like a whole universe. I mean, multiverse. So there could be so many different things that we can all share and get along with. Like if you don't like this Spider-Man, there's 100 different Spider-Man. I'm sure you'll find one that you like
somewhere. But no,
so
I mean,
it's
this
just
brings us back to the whole gatekeeper concept, right? Because people don't want things to change. Like my
right.
franchise looks like this, so especially with Star Wars, I guess I think we can all agree they misstepped with the new trequel series. Last Jedi and all that. They misstepped with that. But even more than that, I think there were some people who were really despondent in the fact that they put a female in the lead like Rey.
Correct.
Despite whatever character flaws she has because of the poor writing of the other two movies, that's beside the point. It's just something else for them to rebel against. Because things have to be a certain way. And I'm sure there's a lot of feeling in the fandom where it's like, I watched this franchise and this franchise, and I like it the way it is. Why are you changing it on me? What are you doing to me? Why did you gender swap or race swap this character? I'd rather just have what I want because I read the comic book when I was a kid, and now you want to gender swap or race swap this character. Oh my God, I can't live with myself.
Right.
But to your point again, it's just like attitudes change, society changes, and that's okay. It's not gonna break your childhood if they cast Carlos G. Espinola, I can't pronounce his last name, from The Mandalorian as Professor X. I mean, it's not going to break your childhood. You still have the comic books. You still have the memories. Enjoy. This is just something new.
Yeah. It's the same thing with conventions. I mean, people dress up however they want at conventions. I mean, that's the point. You're going as your favorite character or your favorite hero or favorite whatever. It's your character, your take on it. That's what it always is. I mean, they always say all the time when you read a book and it gets made into a movie, people are so critical because they're like, that's not my vision. But if you think about it, if there's millions and millions of people that read a book and have their own idea of what they're reading, it's hard to get every single person be like, oh, that's what you expect them to look. It's impossible. So when I go to watch movies that are in books and stuff like that, I do my best to just enjoy the movie for what it is, because especially the actors and actresses, a lot of them work hard. Being an actor myself, you work hard to portray the character. Even with poor writing. I mean, Hayden Christensen, I mean, when he did the prequel series trilogy, like you brought up, he got shit on that whole movie the whole time. Maybe his acting wasn't the best, but it's also the writing. It's a lot of things too. But now all of a sudden people are like, wait, let's give it another look. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, you're okay now.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, to reiterate when you backtrack on one of your points, when people watch a movie from a book all the time, at the beginning of the credits, it will say based on. Which means It's not exact. It's not a carbon copy.
Yep.
Based on, we took the idea, we made a few changes to make it cinematic, to make it presentable to a general audience. If they miss a few things, maybe, but then you have to break down. It's like, well, was it a bad producer? Was it terrible writing? Did the guy doing the movie have no concept of what he was doing? But no matter who does it and how great it comes out or how bad, it is still based on. It doesn't say carbon copy of, based on. And people, context is king, man. But I want to talk about convention now that you brought it up in fandom. You've been to quite a few conventions, right?
Yeah, I have actually.
So have I. I've been to several of them. One thing I will say, in favor of fandom, that I really like, that I find at conventions that people are really nice to each other. No, I don't see anybody going, oh, look at that fat Sailor Moon, or you know what I mean? Or like, how dare you make an Elvis Stormtrooper? I mean, I find everyone very accepting. The fans are very accepting at a convention. I mean, once in a while you'll find an asshole, sure, but on the whole, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, though, it's also the type of environment, because a lot of people that live in this fandom culture nowadays, I like to do air quotes today because it's very, very popular. But anyways, if you think about it, a lot of them back in the day, even in my generation, you had to hide yourself being a nerd. Like if people like found comics, they're like, oh, what are you, a nerd? You're like, no, that's my brother. Even though I don't have a brother, be like, no, it's my brother's, or oh no, I don't know where they came from. But nowadays, because it's becoming more modern and more accepting, it's a good environment to go there. Now you're going there like, wait, you like comics just like me, and you do too, and it's like a whole. Again, I tell everybody I love going to conventions. It's literally nerd paradise. You're going there to look at stuff that you like, watch people dress up in characters that you like, and you're like, wait, I can wear my Spider-Man costume outside of my house, and then you do it too, and it's just awesome feeling to see that, and just
Yeah,
I don't know, I
yeah,
just feel like it's more accepting environment.
I agree because the one thing about conventions and maybe people, I mean, I'm hoping people still, Moss, sorry, I'm hoping people still remember it, but the whole idea of conventions for people is that you get to go there and just be yourself. You can dress up like Gandalf because you're among your peers who accept that. You can dress up like Sailor
Right,
Moon, and you can dress up like a stormtrooper, Spider Man, or whatever. But you will be accepted. And you can be yourself. That's the one thing I love about conventions. The whole atmosphere is just like I'm with my tribe now. The secret
right,
handshake, don't you? Let's go. You know, and
right.
I get geeky about that. I get really excited about it.
Yeah, I wish that the same mentality left the invention and just stood after. You know what I mean? Like,
But to
I feel like when
go back to the
convention
earlier
seasons
point
are,
though, go back to the earlier
what's
point
that?
though. At a convention, you can't hide behind a
Yeah.
keyboard and make a nasty comment.
Yeah, right, right, right.
Like
I
in
meant
your
like
thought.
what you're getting at as far as like the bondingness, because I wish like I feel like once convention season's over, which technically convention season, if you're a real convention addict, there's conventions year round. But certain times at certain seasons, I feel like they're like, all right, now I must go into hiding into my room with no
I'm a shrink
curtains
away.
until next year. Yeah,
I'm a shrink away.
I
Back
wish.
into the darkness in my dark rooms of collectibles.
Yeah. Now leave me alone when I watch anime. Leave me alone.
That's
I'll see the
awesome.
light next year. But I just what I mean is that like I just wish that there was a way like when I go there and I'm just one person. I'm a people person. So I love going there and interacting with people, taking pictures, whether their costumes made out of, uh freaking what are those things like paper clips, or they're made out of cardboard, or they literally spent arm. I'm just like I always want to show people. I'm like, you know what? You came out of your house, you came here like this. I just want to show people that I appreciate them, and I always feel like when they leave, when I leave, I'm like, you know what? I hope that I made people feel as good as I feel, because when I come here, I feel good. I feel awesome. I posted a picture on my Instagram years ago when I was 6 years old, and I took a picture with Spider-Man on a Universal Studios. I like shit myself. I was like, "Whoa, Spider-Man!" My mom's like, "He's right there." I'm like, "I have to take pictures. I have to take pictures."
Right.
And then flash forward now, I have my own son, and we went to see the Spider-Man movie, and he's like, "Dad, we need to dress up." I was like, Nicholas, I love you so much more right now. I was like, I love you so much more right now. We wore
Vinny,
our costume,
Vinny,
everything, went there. Yes.
parenting done right.
Yeah, there you go. See? It was just a good feeling. He loved it. People like to take pictures with him. I don't know. I know people are still shy, so I love going to conventions and being like, "Dude, I love your Hulk costume, or I love your costume. Would you take a picture of me?" I feel like that breaks them out of the mold, because they're like, "You want to take a picture with me? I'm nobody." I'm like, "But you are somebody.
Yeah.
You're somebody that came to a convention and wanted to dress up or wear a Star Wars shirt or your Star Trek gear, or whatever you want." I don't know. I just
No, you're
it's a
right
happy
because
feeling for me.
the best part is the other thing nice about fandomhood at a convention is that you can ask virtually anybody, say, "Hey, do you mind if I take a picture of you?" They're like, "Go ahead." Or being a filmmaker,
Yep.
if I take some of my equipment to the floor, sometimes if I see a great costume, like, "Hey, can I make a really short video with you in it?" And I'll just like, "Can you
Right.
run? Can you do this? I'm do this." I'll show it to them, and they'll get all excited, stuff like that. But they're very willing, because they like the attention, but it's positive attention, right? So they feel just like
Correct. Yeah.
like you said, I came out of my house, I dressed up, and somebody's paying attention to me, little old me, what? You know,
Yeah. And that's a good
and that's
feeling. I mean,
awesome.
yeah. I Tell me, have you ever had this happen to you? This happened to me before. So I went to take a picture with a few people. They were like a little shy, but then they took pictures with. Then later on, we all met up together and we took a group picture of like there was like 6 or 7 of us spider people, and we just took a cool pose together. It was just a cool feeling, like literally group from over there, and a kid from behind me. We just all ran up and just took a picture together, and we were all cool. That was just a cool feeling.
Yeah, I mean, that brings up a good subject too to bring up too. Is like the nice thing about fandom culture is finding new friends, right? Whether it's at
Yeah.
convention or even online. I mean, I've made some friends online because we both had a shared interest in like Doctor Who or some sci-fi novel. I mean, 'cause, you remember fandom isn't just comic books. There's novels, there's
Correct.
movies, there's TVs, romance novels. There are people who are fans of the Brady Bunch TV show to this day. They have group conventions and stuff. VC Andrews, Roman, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to give our audience the idea that we're just talking about, we're including all fandom in this, even if we're not
Correct.
that stuff. We are including that in the same, because I'm sure they have those same problems within their fandom. Like
Yep.
somebody's a toxic person or whatever. But no, but I mean, like hooking up with people, as strangers that you never would talk to, and you can talk to them because like I go to Free Comic Book Day in May, and I'll see somebody read an X-Men. It's like, oh my god, I have that issue. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, what was your favorite run? Who's your favorite artist? And all of a sudden we're chatting. I'm chatting with a complete stranger, and that's just
Yep.
great for nerds and geeks like us, who maybe had an awkward. I mean, I had an awkward social life growing up in the 70s,
Yeah, I did as well.
in high school, shoved into lockers, all that other classic stuff. And it was hard to find
Yeah, I
people
wasn't always this good looking guy.
yeah. It was always hard to find people who knew the secret handshake, It's like, oh, you get it. Okay. There's one or
Right.
two. So that's why it's nice when you go out, even on social media or convention or whatever, finding people who are like, the whole point of fandom is to find people who are like minded, right? And that's
right.
cool. That's kind of like the heart of what's great about fandom, positive fandom.
And like you said, it's being a fan. That's pretty much what we all come down to. We're fans of the same or shared topic. Speaking of different conventions, I'll throw this out there. I never knew till about like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little longer, that there's actually something called sneaker conventions where literally people go to conventions with sneakers to trade each other sneakers. I was like, this is cool. The kid's like, yeah, I got this cool thing. It's really $500, but I got it for a steal. I traded this. I'm like, the way you are with sneakers is how I am with comics and anime and video games. This is awesome. And we're just chit chatting. He's like, you buy this shoe, you buy this one, like that. It's just cool to see. Like,
yeah, sneakers are
you literally
huge.
can have it at a convention with anything.
And sneakers are huge. I mean, people when a big sneakers out there, like, I'm buying two, one to stow, one to show. It's just like they one for display, one to just wear. It's like, and I get it. People look like Barbies and stuff. I get it. I get it. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
my room is a great collection of all my fandom. I mean, so of course, I mean, you want to collect perfume bottles, you want to collect old. Oh God, I'm not gonna remember. You want to collect old magazine or cereal boxes? The guy who collects nothing but cereal boxes.
Right.
Whatever you're a fan of, that's fandom, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's wonderful. All of it's wonderful.
Remember people used to collect bottle caps and stuff? I know that used to be a thing back in the day.
Back in the day. Where are we?
Back in the old time.
Yeah, in the old days. but no, I mean, that's why I'm really like the whole rise of the nerd, rise of the geek era, whatever you want to call it, because I never had this much exposure to fandom when I was a kid compared to what I have now as an adult. It wasn't out there. It's like, I mean, not to offend anybody, but like when I was a kid, if I was reading a comic book in school, somebody, faggot, that was the word of the day back then. Just, so don't get canceled.
Right.
But, that was
don't get canceled. We're using it in the terminology here. It's okay.
The terminology of the time, yeah. But I mean, they would look down on you. They would pick on you. I mean, you're talking about when I was growing up, I didn't know popular music. I was too busy listening to John Williams, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Close Encounters, classical music. That was kind of like soundtrack music was my thing. So I didn't know the popular music, so I got picked on for that too. But nowadays, nowadays, like your generation, even because you're saying it, like you like what you like, and that's cool. I wish I had that going.
Well, it's also you think about it too. Now that it's becoming more accepting, there's more avenue for nerds like us to get into other stuff and be like, oh, wait, Spider-Man did this, or wait, Batman does this, or wait, there's an anime on that. Like now that you don't have to hide in your shell anymore, and you can be more open. It's positive for us too because now we have more ways of getting stuff. They're like, oh, dude, you like that video game? You should try this show. I'll be like, oh, really? Or oh, you like that? You like that sport? You should try this. Like it's becoming more open. Now you can connect, and now you can even grow your own fandom. You're like, I never knew this happened.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the point now where, like, can you imagine, Vinny, if like we're in an age now where it's like, if I wanted to, I could hop on social media with another friend of mine, and we could talk into our cameras, and we can make. Oh, that's what we're doing right now. We're making a show.
Oh wow! It's like few reality just happened.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. But that's where it's come to. Something like this would have been laughed at, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Like, you can't do that.
Yep.
I mean, because even for me to get Fandom magazine, I mean, the closest thing I got to Fandom magazines growing up was a magazine called Starlog. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, I haven't.
Basically, it was science fiction, comic books, and movies all in one magazine, and it came out monthly.
Oh, that's cool.
And would cover all the big movies coming out, plus talk about the past and go forward. I mean, it was basically like, did you ever read the Wizard comics back in the 90s?
Yes, yeah.
The Wizard magazine?
Yes.
Think of it like that, but think of it more not just comic books, movie, anime, TV, past, present, future.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Starlight was a great magazine for that sort of thing. So that was
cool.
that was about the only content. That's how I find my little bits about Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back. Like new set photos from Empire, and this monthly, Vinny, not daily. Monthly.
Right. I know, right?
What's a Dagobah? I mean, that's how limited it was back then. Are you saying that's why it wasn't even on the map? It's just like a couple of things here and there.
Right.
So you were very lucky, man. Very lucky.
Well, even my time, it was still like that. Like, I mean, it didn't get till probably like the mid 2000s, I guess, it started to get more modern. But that's like anything else. I mean, technology is bad, but technology is also good too, because now you just stay up to date with everything. They're like, what is this called? Do. Oh, never mind. I know everything about it now. That's it.
Let me geek out on you for a second. Technology is like magic. It's neither good or evil. It's all in the intent of the user.
There you go.
That's
a good analogy.
Little
I like
D&D
that.
reference for my D&D peeps.
Everyone's like, thank God we were waiting for D&D the whole time. They just talk about Star Wars and Marvel.
I know. But I mean, to kind of round it out and finish it up soon, but the Marvel DC panel we had the last time we recorded, there's another good example because we actually talked about fandom within that panel. And how, the DC Marvel fans have gotten more toxic and more gatekeepery and more tribal and stuff like that. That's like the dark side of fandom.
Right, and it's scary. I mean, that's just, unfortunately, that's reality. That when something gets too big, then some bad people get involved too. And I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to try to stay true to yourself, and you like whatever you like. You don't like what you don't like, and that's it. That's all you could do.
That's true. And
you can get on a show and make your own show. That's why I tell everybody when they insult me, they're like, oh, your show is dumb or your movie's dumb. I'm like, well, you can make a movie or make a show, and then you can talk about whatever you want, and then you'll be happy.
That's just true. Like I would say, to each their own, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's really what it is. But that's a great spot to end it on. I think it's very positive.
I think so.
Out there. But man, this is like I said, it's actually a good panel. I mean, not to toot our own horns, but I enjoyed the conversation that we just had a lot.
I think so. Well, this I think was a very broad topic that we're able to pull a lot of things from. And again, your generation, my generation, we have different experiences, but again, it all goes together. We all are fans, whatever generation, whatever era we're from. We just like to talk about geek stuff and share our knowledge and our likes with other people. We're not, like
Absolutely.
you said, we're not insulting other people. We're just like, hey, we're nerds like you. Look what we like. Do you like the same thing? What do you like? And we just go from there. That's what nerds should be.
Absolutely.
We should be united strong.
Geeks unite, nerds unite. But also for the viewers out there, if you have any opinions about all the stuff we talked about in this last several minutes or almost half an hour, leave a comment. Let us know so we can know how you feel. I will respond because I really want to know what you guys think of fandom and how much are you into the toxic fandom or gatekeepers or any of the stuff we talked about. Because I really want to hear your views. I think it's important for all nerds, geeks, and fans alike to kind of share our opinions and express them.
Yep, as long as they're friendly, no negative stuff here.
Oh yeah, no negative stuff. Let's be constructive. All right, Vinny.
All right, thank you, and guys, enjoy.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoyed the panel. If you enjoyed this series, please hit the like, subscribe, and that notification bell for future videos. Also, visit my store of Nerds and Geeks for cool swag and geeky artwork by yours truly. Until next time, may the force be nerdy. Or geeky. Or you get it. Take care, guys.